podcast, which had no name last week.
Yep.
And I think this week we're ready to name it. We had a host of suggestions come in, a lot of really good ones. I mean, and I think I got them by text. I got them on Facebook. You guys get some sent to you as well. My favorite one that jumped out at me, and I've tried to get these two to argue with me, and they haven't.
It's not one to argue.
It came from Mary Beth Rakers, a good friend of mine, and she sent several, and it's like she kept thinking about it, and then the last one she sent was Deep in the Heart.
So
I really thought, that really hit home.
Yeah, it fits.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we are Texas boys. It is implied that, but deep in the heart, I think that's what we're going to be talking about a whole lot. It's what's coming from our hearts.
Right.
And,
what's important to us.
Yeah, and I really think that, the condition of the heart is a whole lot of our topics.
Exactly.
I think that was perfect. And I noticed that, Dane, you didn't wear your My Pillow outfit today.
Okay, I'm going to address that. I want to apologize to anybody that saw that last week and was turned off by it because it was an inside joke that we didn't let anybody in on. I apologize. Today we're in our comfortable clothes where it's what we normally would wear. And last week it was a joke that nobody knew about except for me, I guess.
Yeah, so I guess we should introduce ourselves. I'm Rocky Christenberry. This is Dane Easley and Michael Earl Roberts, which we're going to call Mikey. He wants us to call him Earl. Not happening. He's Mikey.
I want to go by Earl. I want to personally apologize to Gentry for the stupid looking purple jacket that Dane made me wear last week.
And who's Gentry? Is that your?
It's my son.
Okay. No, I don't know that everybody knows us. So
everybody knows us, and they know Gentry.
So these guys telling me they were wearing sports jackets last week. So I show up in my sports jacket, and there we go. And one of the comments was, Dane looked like the My Pillow guy.
I am not Mike Lindell. And
he doesn't have geezer sheets.
I do not have the geezer sheets. No. Yeah. That was our first show, and if that turned anybody off, I'm sorry.
Most of them don't know what the geezer sheets are either.
That's an inside joke too.
Well, I mean, he talks about the sheets from Gaza, right?
I thought they were from Giza.
Oh, it's a Giza. That's right.
Geezer
Geezer sheets.
It's kind of.
It's the Giza cotton.
It is. That's right. It is Geezer.
So no, it's not. We're not naming the show Three Geezers.
Yeah.
Actually, that got suggested.
It did.
So somebody suggested the Three Geezers. That was one of the names. So we appreciate all the suggestions, and I think we want you to continue with your topic suggestions. We've had a number of those come as well. We had somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 views of our first episode, so that was kind of exciting.
And we welcome all the comments too, as long as they're flattering and
yeah. Yeah. So actually,
not too abusive.
I was hoping we would get more comments. Right. I did have some personal, literally send me a text, or give me a call. Hey, y'all ramble too much. You change subjects too much. Well, we knew the first episode would be that way. We're trying to figure out who we are, and how we want to go. So today we're hoping to actually be a little more on topic, to say on a topic or two,
which is very difficult for us because he and I both, that's Earl and I both, suffer from ADHD or ADD or something. So if a squirrel runs by, we will be distracted easily, and it's not hard for us to get off the topic, but we will do a better job, try to do a better job of staying on that.
So what's our topic for today?
So I think, current events has got to be the old, what's going on in the House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy. I mean, I know we're not going to be politics every week, but that's the talk this week. Is what's going on in Congress. I had a friend out in California I was talking to yesterday on the phone, and he's like, what are they doing up there? And yeah, he's not even necessarily to the right of the aisle, so to speak, as I am. But,
well, I mean, he doesn't even have to be political. It impacts everybody.
It does.
And that's the reason why we can talk about it, because it doesn't matter what your point of view is, it impacts you in some way.
So what did you think? I mean, I heard a lot of the talking heads that were, oh my gosh, these people are idiots, but are they?
No.
What are your thoughts?
I thought they were idiots.
Well, personally, I did not think they were idiots because I thought it was a message a poignant message was sent to everybody knew inevitably McCarthy would be the speaker. The problem is what kind of speaker was he going to be? We need to send a message to these people so they understand, hey, you're still about the people. You're still about representing us.
But
That's
do
the
you
job.
do you think the majority of Americans, though, really understood what was going on this week?
I don't. I really don't. And Mikey's a perfect example.
I understood. I just thought it was bad optics. I mean, honestly.
Well, let's face it. Most people don't keep up with politics enough to know.
Right.
All they know is they can't elect their speaker.
Exactly. And so it does look bad in that way, but if you really understand that it's part of the process, okay? Selecting a speaker is part of the process
Why haven't we seen this happen recently?
because of affiliations, loyalty, trying to stay unified or appear. It's optics, exactly is the reason why.
It's optics.
It's exactly how they want it to seem. Because on the other side of the aisle, which we're three conservatives here, but on the other side of the aisle, they are extremely unified.
I think this
It
problem
appears.
comes from division. I think that not only are the Republicans and Democrats divided to a point where they can't come together on anything, but the Republicans are divided as well.
Among
I
themselves.
think the Republicans they do have an issue of aligning when they need to. I mean,
Right.
we saw that when they were under Trump.
It doesn't
We had control
matter.
of everything.
It doesn't matter
If
what
we need anything done.
what the Democrats what's going on. They all fall in line. They are lockstep with everything.
I
It doesn't
think
matter.
what
Yeah,
happened.
that means that 110% of the Democrats could be controlling this whole narrative.
Exactly.
And is that good? Is
No.
that what we want from our
And
constituents?
so that's the reason why what happened had to happen. 20 people had to stand up and say, hey, it's not going to be good for us to all agree all the time. And we need everybody to understand that although we're on the...
Can we stop just a minute and
Go
talk about what it was they were doing?
Exactly.
Right. So it wasn't just a vote for the Speaker of the House.
Yes, you're right.
What happens is when they vote for the Speaker of the House, my understanding is there's rules that are going to be set forth for the Speaker to abide by during his term.
And committee.
How he chooses the committees, who he puts on the committees.
Yeah, structure. Every single thing about
Even
how the House
all the way
operates.
down to things that will get brought to the floor
Exactly.
are part of, and when they are, I think under Nancy Pelosi, I don't know that there was any amendments ever offered.
No.
She put rules in there
Exactly.
that prevented it.
Well, and she unilaterally acted as the speaker. This right here was an opportunity for people within Kevin McCarthy's party to say, hey, business as usual is not working.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think
But the majority would say business as usual is what we want to do.
Exactly.
But do you think through this it showed exactly who Kevin McCarthy is? I mean, one of the concessions was term limits.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
But now, I mean, he eventually
He ended
did.
up going with it, right?
Yeah,
And so his argument, he's giving them everything. Well, evidently they didn't get everything early on,
Right.
because we kept getting votes and they kept holding out for more until finally they got,
Well, and maybe it did
15.
give us a glimpse of what Kevin McCarthy is. Maybe he can, come to some kind of agreement with people. I mean, that's it. Up until now, they've been unwilling to work together. We just need somebody that's ready to work for us. Because guess what? After today, or after the vote last night, it's time to start working.
Yeah,
people.
but did you see?
For us.
Did Kevin McCarthy get one Democratic vote?
No,
Oh,
he wasn't
no.
going to.
Okay, that's my point.
No.
You've got 20 holdouts, Republican holdouts, which I mean I get it, but what I'm saying is they fall in line 100%.
But it's
And
not
then you're
healthy.
not going to get any. You're not going to get any.
But
The
it's not.
Democrats are not going to give you anything.
But it's not good for us, and it's not healthy. I'm going to tell you right now, the reason why it's not, the perfect example is California has absolutely no business dictating what happens in South Louisiana, New Orleans, for example, because they're so far apart. They're so different than one another that there's no reason. But that's what happens when you sit there and everybody agrees to agree with Nancy Pelosi. San Francisco sitting there telling New Orleans what to do.
Well, how do
And
you
I
pull
don't-
this together? How do you pull this together? It's completely divided.
Well, I mean, that's where it's going to have to
Well,
come with
it's,
some
it's,
compromise.
it's a whole lot of that's coming down to values.
Exactly.
Where our parents, you know, actually my dad, I think he voted Democrat at
Right.
times. He always liked to say he voted for the man, but
Right.
but the Democrats were
Different.
it was supposedly for the working man back
They
then,
were different.
right? They were different. They were more conservative like we are today. They had like things that they could get along on and they could build on.
Well, compromise.
But you don't compromise the Ten Commandments.
Exactly. And
No.
it started.
You don't.
No.
So there's some things that just aren't on the table for compromise, and I use the Ten Commandments as an example, but not so far wrong. What my point is, there's certain lines in the sand that have to be drawn that we just can't give up.
There's
We're
hills you have to
losing
down.
we're
Hills-
losing our country
Exactly.
because we
Yeah.
keep compromising.
Exactly. And I agree.
They're about
That's-
to compromise us out of free speech and our guns.
Exactly.
And they're fixing to compromise you out of even being able to eat.
Oh, compromise you out of your number one amendment into the Constitution. You know, freedom of speech and religion.
Yeah.
You know, those two right there should never ever be on the table, but they are. I mean, this bill that they just rushed through, Nancy Pelosi and them, has everything to do with freedom of religion. It's the
You're talking about the one they did where marriage is no longer between a man and a woman.
exactly
Yeah.
right to marry or be with whoever you want to be with, whatever that one is. But it all this started. If you go back to Paul Ryan, you go back to John McCain. I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but them being rogue actors and going against the consensus among Republicans, even Mitt Romney, and a couple of them suffered because of it. But I'm sorry, there are hills that you die on, and then there are places where we can agree to disagree or agree to agree. Especially when it comes to economics, when it comes to my wallet, my pocketbook, those kind of deals.
The whole freedom of speech thing. Yeah, whenever we start saying, I even question the whole hate speech discussion, right?
Yeah.
I know we touched on that just a tad last week, but if I go back to that just for a minute, and this is still relevant to what the McCarthy thing is, I assure you. But when we say we can't say certain words,
Right.
if we actually make that a law, we're beginning to restrict speech. And I don't agree with some of these words. I'm not saying you should say it, but we should have the freedom to say it. And you're going to reap the consequences of it.
Well, basically what it boils
Why does
down
there
to.
have to be consequences?
Well, I mean, if I say something's going to offend you, you may punch me in the nose.
Right.
That's the consequences, right?
That thing
Yeah,
is-
there's some responsibility. As we talked about last week, my dad wouldn't let me say hate or kill. I mean, hate was just a forbidden word.
Right.
But that's my upbringing, right? And so I learned not to say the wrong negative things, the things that offend. Now, I have said things that offended people by accident before,
But
and I reap the consequences.
education,
They let me know about it.
right? Education though is about freedom of speech. I mean, if you can't get the whole message, if you can't know the good and the bad, then you can't know how to move forward. You can't know how to progress. So we have to realize that there is good and evil, and we have to allow good and evil.
Okay, so these consequences. I mean, if I go back, if we take it back to the McCarthy discussion for a minute, or these compromises, is what I have to say. If we go back, what happened was these 20 people decided that there were certain things they weren't willing to have concessions on,
Exactly.
and they also wanted to make sure that the stage is set to address some, a list of things. If they could get the structure put in now, we could have that to be successful in the next 2 years.
Exactly.
Border security was on that list.
Term limits we talked about last week.
Term limits, yes, they want that brought to the floor.
Because, all right, this was a conscientious effort by 20 people to say, hey, we hear you at home. We hear what you're saying. We are going to be here for you. That's what representatives are. We touched on it last week. The best of us working for what we need and want and what's best for us. Aside from the economic stuff, any of the social issues of the day, I'm indifferent about 92% of the time. There are a few things.
92.
Yeah, 92. And I'm going to tell you, the 8% that I'm not going to yield on have to do with my freedom of speech and my freedom of religion.
You're not indifferent about it.
But look,
I can't-
there was a compromise made. So, the marriage between a man and a woman, for me, it's kind of a sacred thing. What were we really preventing leaving it like that? I mean, was there anybody stop with? I know both genders were getting married regularly before that.
I mean,
Is it just about taxes? Is it about filing jointly?
No, it's about controlling speech. It's about taking freedoms.
It
away
felt
from
like somebody tried to ram their views down my
It is.
throat.
That's
and
exactly-
I know that the argument will be, well, you're ramming yours down, but I don't go out preaching to them.
whatever you do at your house is your business.
Exactly.
I don't care. I do not care. I don't.
And honestly, it's not our place to validate someone else's choices.
Yeah.
Right.
That's-
I don't. But don't force it on me.
So the thing that they've done, if they've got a list, and I'm sure over the next few days we'll get a full list of what all those concessions are, but things like controlling the power of the purse and putting a limit on the debt ceiling, they just keep raising
Right.
and keep raising. So I know I believe this was in there where they actually are not going to raise the debt ceiling.
I mean, that to me, that is probably the most.
That's powerful.
That's powerful, and it's.
If they would have went along, just would have done the first vote, I don't think that would be.
I would say it's probably one of the more important.
I think we would
concessions.
just keep raising the ceiling.
Exactly.
And
And
then
it's
our kids
opportunity
will-
for
I mean,
transparency.
We'll just run out of money.
So they have the power. I mean, they have the power to control the purse, and by not raising that debt ceiling, now that $1.7 trillion omnibus bill that we're all so ticked about
Right.
actually could be limited. Maybe all that pork they put in there doesn't actually ever happen because it doesn't get
Well,
funded.
I hope so. And I'm happy that the 20 stood up and said, hey, it's time for us to really be transparent, because you don't see what's in the $1.7 trillion omnibus until they've already voted on it and the president signed it.
Yeah.
And that is what is disturbing to me, because as a taxpayer, as a resident of this country or citizen who participates fully in the whole experience, the American experience.
Yeah,
But
but why is that? I mean,
Yeah.
who has read that bill
nobody.
Nobody.
And
Yeah.
as the American people,
and who wrote it?
we
Exactly.
should be able to see what's
some
in it.
staffer in a back room with some dictation from a few contributors.
Without any, probably,
Yeah.
any regard for
A
any.
lot of lobbyist money
Exactly.
flowing
Exactly.
into there, and here we go. But I believe there ought to be a bill that says, you got to get a day for every page, or at least an hour for every page in a bill
I agree.
before it can even be voted on. And I think in this, one of their points was there had to be, 72 hours. They put some limit on, you had to have some time to read a bill before it could be voted
And
on.
I agree with that.
That's going to be, I don't know if that's a rule the House just sets, that's the way it is, or if it just means it gets brought to the floor.
Well, and they'll
these-
quit
if these-
sneaking all this backdoor stuff in.
If these people are, if they're really working for us,
Right.
which they're supposed to be, why can't the American people see what's in this bill? Why can't we say, okay, we like this?
Oh, you can. It's online.
Yes,
It's got
after the
7,000
fact.
pages, but
It's
they
after.
already voted and passed it.
Right. I mean, we can see what's in it, but show us first what y'all are voting for.
But see, that's it. That's the deal with elections. I mean, that's our
A
influence. stops
7,000
right
page
there.
bill ain't nobody going to read.
Exactly. Nobody.
No.
And that's how they're able to slip all this.
So
Asinine.
am I right? I don't know if I am right. It's an omnibus bill because we wasn't able to get our budget stuff done in a timely manner in the way we're supposed to. So
Right.
they lump all this stuff together and ram it through.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Well, because guess what was attached to it? We're going to keep the government running. So every single
keep
time
the government
Yeah.
running.
We
Keep
got to fund the
running.
government. We got to fund the government. We'll put it in the omnibus, and we'll go ahead and get all this bull crap.
Well, we got a
passed.
bunch of new IRS agents we had to fund.
Awesome,
I mean,
man.
They're gone. They got rid of them.
how'd they get rid of them?
They just said they wasn't going to fund it.
Oh, so the power of the purse.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I hope that's right. I don't know. If
now
that's
that we're
right.
in power in the House, I'm saying now that conservatives are in power in the House, hopefully some fiscal responsibility will come back to, like you said, the purse, because it is ridiculous to put hamsters on steroids. Why would you finance that kind of research? Who gives a crap what happens to hamsters? I mean, what are you really learning from that? some of this stuff.
Did you like go to the omnibus bill and search for hamsters?
No, I listened. Here's
how
what I
did you
did.
get
Here's what I did. I listened to Jay Sekulow, and they had 18 ridiculous points that they
What about
pointed
gerbils, man?
It was. I mean, it was asinine, some of the stuff that they had in that bill. And they were spending money on it. I think there was something in Houston that some kind of museum about I don't know. I can't remember the particulars on it because
Is this hamsters?
no, this wasn't hamsters. No,
What
it wasn't
do you
hamsters. It wasn't a hamster museum. I'm sorry that
The gerbil
resonated
museum.
with me.
That's just interesting what you picked out there as pork. I heard some things. I don't remember Madeleine Albright museums or libraries or something. So all over the world.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Just
33 of them. I think.
Well, 580.
is that what it was? Just
That's a
ridiculous.
Well, there was one about
That's important, to keep in.
There was one about preserving the right to have an abortion in areas where economic impact.
Yeah,
Or-
wasn't there something for California
Yeah.
making a sanctuary states
Yeah.
for abortion? Or
Yeah,
something?
well, and it had to do with the economic impact and all this other stuff. The way they worded it, you got a bunch of lawyers and actors. And that's who's running the country right now, the liars. Because an actor's a liar and a lawyer's a liar. And they get paid to lie. To be honest with you, I mean, you look at all of our environmental policy.
Yeah.
All of our environmental policy in this country has absolutely nothing to do with science and everything to do with the lawyers and the actors.
Oh, they're definitely censor us now.
Exactly.
That'll probably we'll get booted completely off.
Well, I hate to be honest, but
We just
that's just the way it
named
is.
something else.
Well, so we started this conversation out. What do y'all think? And Mikey thinks the 20 were stupid, and I actually think they were right brilliant.
I thought that it was excellent.
So I think
I'm not saying
it's two
If they're
against one.
stupid,
Here.
I'm just saying the optics were. I mean, really.
But you're hoping that the outcome is exactly what we were expecting.
But
that it could be.
really, so everybody, I believe the country more or less believed the way you did, Mikey. I really do. I think it wasn't the ones that didn't. Where first of all they were conservative and knew what they were doing, and second of all they really understood what was going on in the back room. Well, really in the back room, it was out front, right? Constitutional Republic right out front. We got to see it in action. And everyone's like, oh, they're just fighting among themselves. They can't even elect their speaker.
But that's the way they wanted it.
The class
portrayed.
president. Couldn't elect the class president, right?
Right.
But that's the way they wanted it portrayed. But if
Were you
really,
class president?
no,
Oh,
never,
man.
never.
Class clown.
Well, did you have to get elected for that, or it was just
No, it was
appointed?
self-appointed. Really.
There you go, another bureaucrat.
Yeah, I just did it.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
My parents weren't proud.
They were proud.
No.
it's important for us to be able to see that happen, and know that those people are working for us, and I hope they are. I mean,
Well,
it just helps with transparency.
I know that all those around me don't agree, but I was really while I watched Hannity beat up Lauren Boebert the other night, and she didn't take it too well. Of course Hannity keeps talking over,
Right,
it's really bad. But then I heard Matt Gaetz come on. I don't know if it's Hannity or Laura Ingraham, but he really spoke well. He got a good job of laying out. Look, here's the things that
Articulated the message.
he articulated the message. And so I saw a number of those really getting behind that. Molly Hemingway,
But how many-
on Laura Ingraham, she was like, look, this is what a constitutional
But how
government is
many
supposed to look
people-
like.
How many people had the opportunity to understand the process? See, that's it. It's education.
Yeah,
That's
but
what it
Matt
boils down
Gaetz
to.
says if y'all don't do what I'm saying, I'm quitting.
He didn't say he was going to quit. He just said he never would vote for him, and he may not have.
I think in the end, I think he did. So there was something about it. I don't totally understand it, but the 218 was the number. But if they just said they were present, it lowered the threshold of how many they had to have.
Yeah.
And I know that Lauren was just present and Matt Gaetz was just present, I believe, in the 14th vote.
Yeah.
And it failed. And then there was a whole discussion and they went back. And I believe Matt voted yes so they could get it over the.
My hope is that this is going to benefit us. That's the
Yes.
360 million people that are United States citizens that happen not to be in Washington, D.C. As a representative or in the Senate. Because it's an opportunity to help us out.
I think that we're going to see some positive results. So the things that they put forth, the rules that they put in place, and then elected him, I think actually protects us over the next couple of years and gets the right stuff done.
Right.
I know they're going to start all this dig into, is the Department of Justice been weaponized?
Yeah, well, that's one thing. I would really rather them not waste a lot of money on investigations that are going to be fruitless.
But they have weaponized it.
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
Can they do anything about it?
I don't know.
They're going to use the power of subpoena, but that doesn't do anything about it.
Yeah, but what are we getting out of it?
That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. If it's
who's going to
fruitless,
prosecute the guys that prosecute them?
Well, I mean, every investigation we've had for the last 4 years or 6 years is just fruitless. It doesn't. You don't. We
it's
didn't got
just
anything
an
out of it,
expense.
and it's a bunch of money that has been spent that we didn't need to spend.
Well, obviously, the Department of Justice has been weaponized. The
Yeah.
question is, can they do anything about it?
Right.
If the answer is they can, then I'm in favor of investigation.
I'm all for it myself. If you can
Are they
actually,
just exposing? Because they've been exposing a lot and nothing happens.
right.
Just exposing is not good enough anymore.
Well, and if people are so
Used to the news media, when something was exposed, they would take it, to the public and crucify it. Now they just don't even play it.
right, we're so desensitized now because, well, first of all, because the media is complicit 110% in this effort to undermine you and me as a citizen of this country.
Well, do you think we can get Elon Musk just to buy the rest of the media?
Hey, I wish he would.
I mean, honestly, so now I'm thinking about getting back on Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, my account got locked down. Looks like suspicious activity on your account under Obama.
Right.
Imagine that.
That's a while back.
Yeah, and there was no way to open it back up. They didn't send me a link on here, click here, go. It was like your account's locked.
Yeah.
So, but I'm thinking about going and getting a new Twitter account.
Well, I got off of Facebook because I have opinions and
No.
apparently offend a few people.
No.
But I saw I've been on LinkedIn, and every now and again they'll clamp you down on LinkedIn, and I really have, compared to my activity on Facebook, we're talking about I have really, really, really reeled it in. And
No, he hasn't.
No,
He's
I have.
been kicked off LinkedIn 3 times.
and I haven't been kicked off LinkedIn. That's a
So
lie.
I've learned.
You
So
get me in trouble with my wife. I haven't been kicked off LinkedIn, son.
Definitely, Facebook has not been happy with some of my comments, and they've definitely communicated that to me. If I keep Facebook just as a family, keep up with friends thing, I think I get benefit in that way, and I think I have to do that.
Yeah. But you can't participate.
So what I had done in the past, up until they locked me down, was like, okay, make Twitter my place to go with my political comments, and then Facebook is where I go to keep up with friends and family.
Right.
And that's kind of looked at it that way. Maybe I'll open Twitter up again.
Well, I have no boundaries.
I lose control though sometimes when you get on Facebook.
He don't know when to
I
stop.
have no boundaries.
There's been numerous times that I've had to,
Hey, that's what you get right here with this. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm all or nothing. I'm 110%.
Okay, so I know we went political today. It's not going to be political every week. I think that we've got some ideas of some local topics, things that incite in the local area, things like the Marvin Nichols Reservoir. That's a big deal. But it applies to everyone that might would watch, because I guarantee you we're not the only place where the needs of the many somewhere are imposing something on an area that may or may not want it. And I think that discussion is a hot topic here.
Exactly. Impact and, eminent domain will be part of it. The discussion, I guarantee you, because it's part of the package deal. And it will impact this area. It will impact people living here. So it's very immediate to us. But it's like you said.
I think property taxes certainly is going to have to be something we take on
exactly
at some point.
Yeah, but you got outside of this area trying to impact, our lives, and don't care. Honestly, that's the issue.
And so we'll probably bring some guests on to have some discussions on some of these topics.
But not just one sided. It'll be pro and con.
Oh, sure.
That way we can do a color commentary.
Yeah, then we can have our opinion after we let them.
We got
Yeah, we do have opinions.
Okay, all right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for today. We watched it all roll out this week. We've seen it actually happen. It's kind of nice. It kind of all happened in 1 week, so we got a complete beginning to end topic that was live and in action in everybody's face.
Right.
So they can get to work this next weekend, and we can work on whatever the next topic is.
Right. And hopefully it, helps people understand things a little bit more. We always appreciate the devil's advocate.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Was I really?
Yeah.
That was that.
No, but in the end, you were in line with. It's just
I never said that I didn't agree with it. What I said was the optics were bad.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
so we want you to keep sending in your suggestions of topics. We'll take on any topic.
Any topic.
In fact, get out there in left field if you want. We'll have some fun with that. But just keep sending those suggestions in. We want your feedback. We want your comments. We need to see those. That helps us. It helps us be able to improve. It helps us be able to have direction about where we need to go.
Right. So, what you want to hear, what you want to know.
Yeah, what you want to know. Okay, so that concludes episode number 2 of Deep in the Heart of Sin. We'll see you next time.
Bye.